Good morning, beloveds. So it's been in the mid 90s all week this week. The lows have been in the high 70s all week this week. I come into this room to do this. And we, during the cool weather for one of our elderly cats, we bought a hot pad. One of my, not quite elderly cats, but not young, it's 78 degrees in my house and he's sleeping on the hot pad. Gotta love cats. What? But they also sleep in full sun because the Terror Trio, we have 3 siblings and we call them the Terror Trio. We're all 3 on the table in the dining room where they could stretch full out in the sun. So I'm just like, yeah. Fur coats and heat. Got to love them. All right, it is May 20th. Our title is Confidence. Our first quote is, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might." And that is Ecclesiastic. Okay, apparently that is not a word I can say today. 9:10. It is quite necessary, then, that the successful business person should keep their mind on thoughts of happiness, which produce cheerfulness instead of depression. Science of Mind, page 302. There are 2 kinds of confidence we need in this world if we expect to get much satisfaction out of personal endeavors: self-confidence and confidence in God. Self-confidence is a wonderful thing, but no matter how far it may carry one along the road of success, that success becomes an empty thing unless there is another confidence: confidence in God. Self-confidence fills us with the assurance that we are capable of meeting obstacles and challenges and overcoming them. The important thing, without which there is always uncertainty, is the knowledge that it is right for us to have good results from our good endeavors. God confidence brings us that knowledge. Self-confidence will not provide the guidance or the assurance that we are correct. God confidence will. Good things flow to us when we have the confidence that God is just and will provide all that we need to achieve success and prosperity. I believe in myself as an agent of God. I believe in God as a wise director of all my affairs. Through this dual confidence, I enter into each day's activities in the marketplace with a joy of doing, an expectation of achieving, and an acceptance of fulfillment. I sense freedom in every act, a spontaneous joy in every movement, and God's loving presence in every situation. Freedom and confidence are established in my thought, and I enjoy the rewarding fruits of my labor. And that is W.M. And I don't remember who that is, so I'm going to look really quick. W.M. William Miller. I don't know if we've done William Miller yet or not. Okay. So let's think about confidence for a minute. Because this one kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, okay, and I've never thought about God confidence. Honestly. Self-confidence, yes. Because that's been a thing. You know, I'm closing in on 50 and I don't know where I turned the corner on self-confidence. There was just this point where I just kind of went, nope, I'm good enough. You know, I don't know everything. I know that I don't know everything, regardless of what other people say about me. So if somebody tells you I know everything, don't believe them. My coworkers have a habit of pointing at me going, she knows everything. No, I don't. But what I do know is I know where I can get answers. And that right there may lead into what God confidence is. Because my friend Lilia will jokingly say when we're talking about things, well, I don't know the answer to that, but I know something that does. And half the time she's talking about Google. And the other half the time, she's talking about God. And that really is it. It's like, I don't have to know everything. If I know how to find the answers. And some answers are easily found in Google. And some answers, there's only one place to go, and that's to God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. And I think that's what William Miller's talking about. It's the confidence of being willing to go to God and the expectation that you will get an answer. And the cool thing about God, and maybe this is where my God confidence comes from, is that God has this wide, amazing, infinite variety of ways to answer us. So when we come to God and say, hey, about this, our answer could come by the next person that walks the door, or the next book we read, or sometimes it's even a commercial. My coworkers and I were playing a game, sitting around the table, and it was kind of a 20 questions, and they wanted us to pick one word for each of our coworkers. And so I used the word flibbertigibbet for one of my coworkers. And she went, what is that? Because she's never seen the movie Joe versus the Volcano. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Joe versus the Volcano. And if you haven't, totally worth seeing. Now, here's what the cool thing about that is when I looked up the clip, and it occurs to me, I've had this phrase echoing in my head for a little while, and I can't figure out where it's from. And now that I looked up the clip, I think I know where it's from. I'm pretty sure that the phrase echoing in my head is from Joe versus the Volcano. Have I had time to verify this? No. It's on my to-do list for this weekend. I'm going to watch the movie in the next so many days and figure out if that's what it is. But when I was looking something else up along the lines of Joe versus the Volcano, I discovered that there's this whole, it's kind of like the philosophy of Joe versus the Volcano. It's about losing our soul, but not to good or evil, but to the daily grind. And I went, oh, this is what I'm looking for. And I didn't know I was looking for it until, and so God answers our prayers, because I'm like, where is this from? And sends us down these random paths that can lead amazing places. And that's what God confidence is. The trust to follow a rabbit down a hole. It's also the willingness to open your mouth and trust that the words that you need come out. And that has been one of the strengths of me as a practitioner and me as a minister. I understand that the words that are coming out of my mouth aren't necessary. In fact, 9 times out of 10, they're not mine. I just open my mouth and kind of go. And then hopefully what I'm saying makes sense to somebody and gives them what they need to pursue whatever it is. That is my confidence that God will provide me those words. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, the person that I'm talking to is me. It's like, oh, I'm hearing these words come out of my mouth. I got it. So God confidence is an amazing thing, but it does stem from your relationship with God. And so if your relationship with God is, well, that old white man sitting in a chair with a big book judging you, I can see where your confidence in God may be a little, And so you want to go back and unlearn what you have been taught about God. And that's one of the things, I think that actually that's what Jesse's been working on this month with the Builder and the Plan with Ursula Gesterfeld, is letting go of God as a personality and accepting God as a principle. Because a personality is judgment. Can include judgment. I shouldn't say that. Can include judgment. And that is not what we want from God, because if God can judge us, then how can we ever have confidence in God in that unconditional love? And so that is the gift of letting go of God as a personality. Now, there are gifts in accepting God, and I'm going to say pieces of God as personality. One of the amazing things about the Hindu religion is the Hindu religion says there's one. But that one is too big for me in my limited mortal form to deal with. But I need to deal with God. And so I have decided to assign parts of God these names and attributes. And therefore, when I need that part of God, then I can go to that part of God. And then I don't have all of God to blow my mind. So but then we have to walk that fine line between principle and personality. We can deal with pieces of God. We can assign them names and things like that and labels, but understand that that's not a personality. It's still a principle. And that can help us build up that confidence in God, trusting that, as William says, just, and that God will answer. And then the confidence in ourselves that when God answers, we will recognize the answer. And even if we don't recognize the answer, as long as we follow it, we'll get there. We'll get there. So, confidence. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might. Okay. With this one, it's in Ecclesiastes, which is 9:10. I'm not entirely clear, so I would suggest go back and read a few lines before, a few lines after. That's Reverend Norm's suggestion. Bible context is taken out of, Bible quotes taken out of context can get us in a whole lot of trouble. So go check it out for yourself. Yet on the science of mind, it is quite necessary then that the successful business person should keep their mind on thoughts of happiness, which produces cheerfulness instead of depression. Science of Mind 302. And straight up, yesterday, coworker texted me and, three other coworkers and said, I don't feel good. And we were like, stay home. Because if you don't feel good, then all you're going to want to do while you're at work is go home. And that's going to bring the whole morale down. So just stay home. We got this. And so, we encouraged her to do that so that the rest of us could focus on cheerfulness. Now, we were concerned about her and checked on her, but it's like, if you come to work sick and all you want to do is go home, you're affecting the morale of the rest of your coworkers. So stay home when you don't feel good. So successful business is focus on cheerfulness. And if you can't focus on cheerfulness, take the day off. Maybe you need a rest. All right. So there are two kinds of confidence we need in this world if we expect to get much satisfaction out of personal endeavors. Self-confidence and confidence in God. Now, I went a completely different track on this. So when we go back through this, I'll stick a little more closely to the script. Self-confidence is a wonderful thing, but no matter how far it may carry one along the road to success, that success becomes an empty thing unless is the other confidence. Confidence in God. So self-confidence it's not knowing that you're the best in the room, but knowing that no matter what happens, you can deal with it, that you're not competing with anybody else in the room. That's what self-confidence is. Knowing that you're not competing with anybody else in the room. So it's not an ego thing. That self-confidence is not an ego thing. In the best of times, self-confidence is not an ego thing. All right. You want self-confidence? Watch Cat. See, self-confidence fills us with the assurance that we are capable of meeting obstacles and challenges and overcoming them. Like I said, the important thing without which there's always uncertainty is the knowledge that it is right for us to have good results from our endeavors. It is right for us to have good from our endeavors. Yes. God confidence brings us that knowledge. Self-confidence will not provide the guidance or assurance that we are correct. God confidence will. And that goes back to what I was talking about, your relationship with God. What kind of God do you believe in? Because more than once I have looked at a person and said, I can't believe in a God that does this. Okay? I.e., for example, I can't believe in a God that will doom people to hell for never having heard the word Jesus. You know, if you've never heard the teachings of Jesus, you go straight to hell. Because there are people that believe that. And I'm like, I can't believe in that kind of God. So your relationship with God is very important when then you go back and look at God confidence. And if you believe in a just and unconditionally loving God, if you believe in a God that responds, then your confidence is going to be much more productive for you than if you believe in that old man with the long white beard sitting in a chair with a big book judging you. If that's where you are, you got some work to do. But the good news is you've got a lot of support and a lot of resources to unlearn this nonsense that we have taught for, society, culture, religion, eons. So please, if you do not have God confidence, go back and look at your relationship with God, at what you actually believe about God. And I've said a lot about God today, so, I'm always happy to talk about God. God confidence will. Good things flow to us when we have the confidence that God is just and will provide all that we need to achieve success and prosperity. So, William Miller's treatment is, I believe in myself as an agent of God. I believe in God as a wise director of all my affairs. This is telling me what I believe about God, what I believe about myself. Through this dual confidence, I enter into each day's activities in the marketplace with a joy of doing, an expectation of achieving, and an acceptance of fulfillment. And an acceptance of fulfillment is kind of important because sometimes if the day feels empty at the end of the day, what did we actually achieve? Sometimes the only thing we achieved is showing up. And sometimes that's enough. And other days, we're a brilliant star burning through the night. I sense freedom in every act, a spontaneous joy in every movement, and God's loving presence in every situation. And that right there, God's loving presence in every situation. This is what I'm treating for. This is what I am expecting to see. This is what I am accepting for myself and for the people around me. That'll go a long way to God's confidence. Freedom and confidence are established in my thought, and I enjoy the rewarding fruits of my labors. All right, William Miller, thank you for giving me something I hadn't thought about before. God confidence. I may make a note about that and see about writing a talk about that at some point. Okay, so, there's a mission. What's the mission? I don't know what the mission is. Okay, I'm going to use a line out of his treatment. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to sense freedom, spontaneous joy, and God's loving presence in every situation. And I choose that simply because sometimes when we have, and I'm going to use the stereotypical Monday through Friday 9 to 5, we feel chained to it. And yet, we can sense that freedom. We can have that spontaneous joy. And if we accept that God is in the workplace and moving through us and all of the people we interact with, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. All right, so that's the mission. That is the mission for today, should we choose to accept it. The other one is the same one that I always give you. to do something loving for yourself, to do something kind for yourself, to do something compassionate for yourself. I suggest it every day. It is a spiritual practice, but it is about creating that habit, that first response, that default setting. You deserve your own love, your own kindness, your own compassion. And where better to practice that response than on yourself? In ministerial school, they just hound into us self-care. And practicing that on ourselves is part of that self-care. So, take a nap, take a walk, take 3 deep breaths before you speak. Go and enjoy something. Tonight, we are going to make cookies and cream milkshakes. Just because I want to. I haven't had one. And you better believe that I am going to engage all 5 senses and enjoy that milkshake. So, it can look like that. Loving, kind, compassion. Because we deserve to have fun too. It's not all about labors. All right. As always, I do encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. Drink plenty of water. Go get that early morning sun. Reset all those hormones. And set your day up right. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It is all around us all the time. It is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. And I do believe that God confidence feeds into that sense of heaven. So now that I know about it, I'm going to be thinking about it. But I'm also going to take Emma's advice and look for the good and praise it. All right. So catch us on the social medias. Ooh, there was a foster tail. Catch us on the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the ones that we are on. I am the running Rev Ryan on the ones that I have been on. There's been a lot going on, so I haven't been terribly active, but I'm working on it. And, oh, well, because my ordination is coming up. If you want to know what's coming up, email info@creativelife.org and get on that constant contact, because my ordination's coming up. I am getting very excited about it, although just a smidge nervous. I know I'm in good hands though. So, there's a guest musician coming. We've got a food market coming. There's a class coming. So all of that is coming up. And I know that there's some interesting things coming through home office, through the CSL home office. And I know that because Jesse's doing I don't forget what they call it, but it's a movie review. They're going to do 5 or 7 movies, and I forget which one Jesse's got. He may have the Da Vinci Code. But that should all be in that constant contact email. So check that out. All right. Some days I am a flibberty gibbet. Yes, Joe versus the volcano. And I'm gone. So have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious day, a magical day, an enchanting day, a Friday, because I get to go to the park tomorrow and play with the squirrels and the blue jays. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased, in whom God is well represented, in whom God has all of the confidence. So return the favor. All right, beloveds, take care of yourself. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. because, like I said, I get to go to the park tomorrow. And know that you're loved. So I will see you next time.